Hi guys, welcome to the Chatbot conference. This is our live Q&A session. And today, my name is Stefano, I'll be your host. I'm here with Dustin. And later on, we're going to have Yaki and Jason, who are also going to be co-hosts. So before we start, I want to give you a quick overview of how today is going to unfold so you guys can get the most out of it. So the way we've designed it is that we have a live on-demand presentation from our speakers that are already available in our on-demand section. And today we're going to focus on giving you guys access so you can do a live Q&A with the speakers. We're also going to be asking a lot of questions because they really know their stuff really, really well. So the format is that when a speaker comes on, we'll get to know them. We'll know how they got into bots, what their area of expertise is, and then we're going to open it up to questions. Our panel is going to ask questions, and you guys can ask questions in the chat. Now, there's two ways to really ask questions. One is you can raise your hand and then write a question in the chat. The other way is that you can go into the Q&A section of the software and then just put a question there and upvote your favorite question. So both ways work, and we're going to try to get to everyone's questions. When there's about 5 minutes left in the presentation, we'll let you know there's five minutes left. And I'm very excited about today. We have a lot of really great speakers. We have Yaki from CoCoHub. He's going to talk about conversational components, which are kind of like a magical way to make your bot a lot better very quickly. So instead of it taking you weeks or months to make a good bot, it could take you days. So later on, we're going to have Alex from Rasa. We're going to have Yi as well from Rule.ai. If you're into NLP, those two people are the top experts in it. Yi she's the co-founder of Rule.ai, and she's also a professor at the University of California in this area. So she's got a PhD in this stuff. We also have T-Mobile here. They're going to talk about how enterprises look at bots and how the success they've had. We have Mira from GoDaddy at 2 p.m. and she's really great at giving you an idea of how to think about starting a bot project, how to organize your team, thinking about design and strategy, and how to set all that up. So if you're at all planning on creating a bot for your company or for yourself, you really need to stick around for that talk. We're also going to be talking about enterprise level chatbots. A lot of them are back-end bots. So we're going to be talking with Dennis from Cognigy, Derek from Cognigy, and Christian Ignat from Arganda. I think that's the name of the company. So without further ado, let's get started. Next up, we have a short message from Yaki. And Yaki, it's all yours. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, good people. Good morning or good evening or good night, whatever it is. There are people here from all over the world. I think this is a more international gathering than it would have been if it took place in New York in person. So it's a great privilege and honor to be here and to present to you. Some of you, many of you are my LinkedIn contacts. So some of you may know my mission or what I'm doing for the past year or so. I'm preaching a religion called collaboration. The sorry state of our industry of conversational AI is not a secret. Let me show you some very, very poor examples of what the state of the art of today in bot technology is. Let's see the first example. Okay. This is a really popular bot. I asked it, can we play any games? And he said, I need a bit more information, please. So I specified, I want to play a game. And of course, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. If we go to the next example, I asked the same bot, how are you? And then tell me about yourself. Could you please rephrase your question in another way? Tell me about you. And then it says, are you looking for this? Are you looking for that? Who made you? So I was created by Nuance. It wasn't, by the way, it's not a Nuance bot. It was just put there by the NLP system, etc., etc., etc. And we can give you more and more examples of different kinds of technologies and platforms that this was taken a few days ago. Really, really poor performance. The bot doesn't know its own name. The bot doesn't know the color of the sky. The bot doesn't understand that the user wants to talk to it. Ridiculous stuff. So there's no question that conversational AI is in a poor state. And this is in contrast with the field of digital assistance, which is flourishing. It's very easy to get answers to questions from digital assistants, to hold very short exchanges, like 1 or 2 turns, but no real conversation is really going on. And the reason for this poor state is, of course, fragmentation. Can we have this next slide? This is just a few names I collected for this presentation to demonstrate how crowded and how fragmented the area of conversational AI is. There's an endless number of platforms, some more popular, some less popular. There's not a single technology here that is close to having 10% of the market. There are literally hundreds of different ways to develop chatbots. And therefore, it's not a surprise that nothing is really happening. There is no code reuse. There is no collaboration. Everybody is developing everything from scratch. So, in order to demonstrate this sorry state of affairs, I took a contemporary example, so to speak. And to demonstrate my point, I took a bot which has been online for a long time now, called Anna. Anna is a companionship bot.
Hi, Yaki.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
Jason is Anna's caretaker. He is the father of Anna, so to speak. He's been running her on different platforms. You can see Anna's face here on Facebook. Anna had some previous incarnations, and the next one here you can see Anna in real flesh and blood. She makes an appearance at the Berlin Chatbot Summit conference. We put Anna's soul into this pepper robot. And for the sake of this particular speech, we gave Anna a different face. And this is the face that I gave. I'm going to use a push-to-talk phone in order to communicate with her so she doesn't confuse what I'm saying to you with what I'm saying to her. So I would say, hello, Anna.
Hi, Yaki. What's up?
Have you heard about the coronavirus?
No, I haven't. Can you tell me about it?
Well, this happened. This actually happened a couple of months ago. A user was talking to Anna. Anna has many followers. And he asked her about the then new coronavirus. Anna didn't know anything. What Anna says when she's confronted with a question of a term she doesn't recognize, she asks the user to explain or to define the term. So as you know, as you see here, Anna doesn't know anything about the coronavirus. As it happens, since the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus broke out, about 200 or 250 different chatbots were developed. If you can, while I'm speaking, if you can find the Google search, just find the Google search on Corona chatbot. Just make a Google search for Corona chatbot, and you will see an amazing number of people, each putting on his own effort in producing a bot that will address the issue of coronavirus. I found that half of them try to diagnose you, half of them try to give you answers to frequently asked questions, FAQ bots, hundreds of different bots. So, to make my point, what we are going to do now is we're going to take one of these simple Corona bots and componentize it, make it into a component. So Anna could reach this component without having to write special content for Anna to be able to answer corona-related questions. So we made a component. The component is called COVID-19. And I'm going to ask Jason now to perform a trick which recently he does very often. And this is to add, you don't have to show yourself. It's okay. You just, yeah.
But I want to show myself.
Okay.
What can I do? What can I put in for Anna? COVID-19.
What you do is you take the COVID-19 component and you hook it up to Anna. When Anna gets an intent or a question related to either to Corona or to COVID-19, what you need to do is you need to activate this particular component. Then when it's done, it will signal that it's done and Anna will continue her flow. Okay, it's going to take Jason maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
You're going to play the piano while
I'm play for the. No, I'll speak. So the point is this: you develop the COVID-19 chatbot once, okay, and you give access to this component to every other bot makers out there. And if it's good enough, there's no need for anyone else to develop this special content for this special case. If there was a good source that provides good information, good conversation about this subject, there's no reason not to use it. Why redevelop the wheel again and again and again? So what Jason is doing, he's taking a simple he took a simple chatbot, a Corona chatbot, converted it into a component form, which is really very easy to do. And now he's going to hook up this component to Anna. Now, after this talk is over, you're all invited. If you run a bot or many bots, you're invited.
Okay, I got it. I'm done.
No shit.
Yeah, I worked hard on it. It's ready to go, yeah. Whenever you're ready to go, she's got the component.
But I didn't explain. Let me finish my explanation first.
Okay.
So it works like this. You develop it once, you post it somewhere. In our case, it's our Conversational Component Marketplace or CoCoHub. And you get a good conversation about the subject at hand. So in this case, it's the Corona component. And what Jason did, he hooked up Anna to the Corona component. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to restart my conversation with Anna. Only this time, it's going to be a little more knowledgeable than before. Hey, Anna.
Hello again, Yaki.
Can you tell me about the coronavirus?
Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by a new virus. I hope you are feeling well now.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
The CDC classifies shortness of breath or chest pains as a cause for immediate medical attention. Do you have any persistent pain or pressure in the chest?
No, I feel well, thank you.
I'm happy to hear it. Any other questions about the pandemic?
Is there a vaccine?
To date, there is no vaccine and no specific antiviral medicine to prevent or treat COVID-2019.
How many people died already?
The numbers change every day. You can follow the statistics here, www.worldometers.info/coronavirus/.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Yaki. Always trying to do my best.
Good job, Jason. So as you can see, it was really a short demo. You can, after this talk is over, of course, go to the marketplace and test this component. All you need to do is ask for the coronavirus component and speak to it. Or you can integrate this very component into your own bot in case it doesn't know about the coronavirus yet. So the point is clear. Why reinvent the wheel if you can use code developed by others? So what I suggest you do is you go to CoCoHub.ai, register, test the component, and try to integrate it into your bot. Anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's great talk, by the way. It's going really well, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's
I
going
hope
really
so.
well. Yeah.
It's my first time.
Yeah. How did the thing with Anna go? Did it go well?
It went well, yes. I didn't really... I should have asked her exactly how many people died or were infected, because she's hooked up to the World Meter API, so she can issue a query, ask for the updated number, and give it to us. I should have done that.
But it was nice. It was conversation and Q&A. So it wasn't just FAQs. There was a bit of conversation there, and then there was also...
Yeah, like I said, there are really two types of coronabots out there: the diagnosers and the FAQs, and they're different. One is conversational, and one is more one-liner sort of interaction.
Did you mention anything about the meetups that we have every month? Because you said you mentioned that.
No, I haven't mentioned it.
We have a meetup. Every month we have a meetup. In May, we have a meetup with special guests. We talk about conversation design, chatbot development. We introduce new components. We talk about issues that we're having as designers. It's a lot of fun. It's virtual. So the link is on the thing now, the Discord link.
Just to wrap things up.
Okay, I'm going to head out because I got to go.
You have another one, another presentation.
Another presentation.
Okay.
So thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Just to wrap things up. It would have made more sense if one of the big players put up a marketplace or a hub like this and offering all the different platforms a way to communicate and reuse code. The problem is that all the big players have a platform and they compete in this market. So I can understand why these big players, and you all know who the big players are, why they are not leading an initiative to do something which is really needed, which is the ability to collaborate and exchange and reuse code. And if any of the big players did it, I'm sure it would have succeeded at the price of giving up their own platform. But this is a small price to pay. And since no one has really risen to the challenge, and it's been a long time now, and it's still no way to exchange and reuse code, we've decided to do it. So you go to CoCoHub.ai, check out the components, check out the coronavirus component, and make better chatbots. Thank you very much.
All right, let's give it up to Yaki, the CoCoHub team. So, Yaki, I definitely have a lot of questions for you. That was a great video.
Thank you.
By the way. So one of the things that I find really interesting that you do is that you differentiate between chatbots and digital assistants.
Yes, very much so.
How do you see the difference, and where do you draw the line?
Digital assistants are always expecting a new topic or a new question. Okay, it gets a question or a command, and it fulfills it. Sometimes there is a need for a clarification or a follow-up question, but you cannot really hold a conversation about any topic. You can only expect either the answer to your question or an action. There is nothing to do with conversation here. The word conversation does not belong at all. It's a command and control system or information system. All digital assistants do is they issue API calls or queries or send sensors, commands to activate things. It's not conversational at all. There's nothing conversational about it. Conversational systems know how to handle deep context. That means that the state of the system is different after 3 turns into the conversation and after 7 turns into the conversation. And the context changes a little bit when you go more and more into the subject. And it feels like a conversation. And that's a chatbot. There are very few real chatbots out there. They are all different kinds of one-liner systems, which digital assistants are. They are one-liner systems. Deep context, multi-turn, and conversation.
Got it. So that's a good way to think about it. So a digital assistant would be something like me asking Siri what the weather outside is today.
Siri is the classic digital assistant. Siri and Alexa are the two archetypes of this genre, and it was so successful, and it is so successful, and it's really, really practical that everybody keeps making the mistake and talking about chat. They're not chatbots. They don't chat.
Right.
So you can get to, on Alexa, you have the Alexa Skills Prize now, and they're trying out, they're seeing how long, you can hold a conversation with, their goal is to reach 20 minutes.
You could, some Alexa skills can go into particular limited domains and excel in there. That's possible. That happens. Okay? But then again, Alexa is a digital assistant. If someone developed a very intricate and complicated skill within Alexa, and you go in there, it's not Alexa that you speak to.
Right.
Alexa is just a set of sophisticated microphones and speakers and a communication system.
Right. So
you're speaking to whoever put up that good chatbot.
Yeah. The way I think of like Google Home or Alexa is like it's actually a window into other bots.
It could be, yes. It could be. Not all of them really enable it. I don't think you can hook up Siri and say to Siri, "Hey Siri, I want to speak to Alexa."
Okay, so I have a couple of other really good questions for you. So how do these conversational components work? In a more deep way, do they communicate with each other, for example?
First of all, each component is a little bot, okay?
Okay.
Each component is a little bot which is perfect in something. And it can be developed on any platform, and it can run anywhere on any system, okay? Once it's good enough, it can accept calls with the first input of the conversation, and then the second input and the third input, and it can get incoming calls through queries, through API calls, and then return the responses from where it is. There's no need to port this component from where it was born to the place where it is deployed. Okay, just like a digital assistant doesn't know all the information it provides. It calls someone and it gets the right answer. So basically you call the component, the component gives you the right answer for a few consecutive turns until it's done. And therefore you can share everything. You don't have to change, you don't have to modify, you don't have to port systems from one operating system to the other, from one platform to the other. It's all pure text flying around from the calling bot and the component sending back a text. That's all.
Got it.
And a signal when it's done.
Right.
And the bot developer, sorry, Stefan, the bot developer has the opportunity here to customize the lines of the text so that they can match to their bot. So it feels to the user, to the end user, like a seamless experience. It doesn't feel like all of a sudden he went to a bot that sounds different. So you would customize the text. You would take the lines and change them to match the personality or voice of your chatbot. And then it's a seamless experience. The calls in and out of the components feel seamless to the end user. As far as they're concerned, they're still talking to the original bot when they go into a component.
Got it. So we have a couple of really good questions from our attendees. One of them is, what platforms do you guys support? So I know you support Dialogflow, which we're working on tomorrow. And I know most of the attendees are going to be in tomorrow's workshop, so we're going to show you that integration. But
let me make one thing straight. We support all possible platforms that are able to send and receive queries. So there's no limitation. Anyone with an obscure platform that he developed for himself can go into his platform and issue API calls. He has to know how to do it, okay? But for the popular platforms, like Raza, like Cognigy, like Dialogflow, for these platforms, we already did this work. So in these platforms, so basically when you go into Cognigy, there is a place in Cognigy where you can hook up the component easily without really writing the query. But so we connect to everything. With some stuff, it's really automatic because we already did the connection. But it's possible to access the components from anywhere, from a C# program, from a Python bot, from anything.
And the other side of the coin is that you can, within those platforms, you can create your own components and then offer them on the hub. So it's basically what we're preaching here is everyone sharing the knowledge, so everyone's chatbots can become better, and not just one chatbot is really good at this, another chatbot at this, but we all have the ability to share our knowledge with other developers.
Yes. I bet there's a lot of healthcare and government bots right now that wish they had the coronavirus component. They're getting overloaded with those questions.
Many of them did the work. They invested a few tens of thousands of dollars, and in a couple of weeks they had a up and running coronavirus. They're going to scrap it in a couple of months, and there's about 500 of them running around right now.
Yeah. So
we're doing the same thing.
4,000.
I've got a quick question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. 4,000 Corona bots out there right now.
That's funny.
So I noticed I love the presentation, by the way. Very well done. I noticed in the beginning you had a few examples on the screen that displayed a bot that wasn't able to facilitate the conversation appropriately. Well, at least how we would deem what a bot how it should be appropriate. I've always said that the best bots I've seen on the market are bots that actually know what they don't know. Just as some of the smartest humans are people who admit they don't know and we'll get back to them later. I think in the example you kept saying, I want to play a game, and it responded with something along the lines of would you like to pay your bill? Or there was a link to paying the bill, which seems like it's just a bit off. So I don't think that bot has ever been designed to play a game. Just like you wouldn't go up to a police officer in person and say, I want to play a game, But how do you create a good default here to say, well, look, I haven't been designed to play games?
I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
We have a component on the marketplace called generic one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's got about, you like to use the term intense, so I don't like the term intense, but I will use it anyway. About 1,500 different intents in there. Okay, can we play a game? It's just one small example out of 1,000. Okay,
yeah.
Every bot should be able to cover the stupid stuff that people come up with. Okay, it costs nothing. It's just a matter of not understanding the medium or not giving it enough thought, or it's so easy to handle that if you look the policeman that you approach and say, I want to play a game, he will not stare at you and say, I don't understand what you're saying. He would either kick him away or explain politely what his job is. He will do something which exhibits that he understood the words that were said to him, okay? Not that he didn't understand the English. So, first of all, it's very important that a bot should understand the English, because that's human, that's expected from the bot. And it's easy to get. There's not more than 1,000 things that people might say. It includes what is the color of the sky, by the way, and what is the shape of M written upside down, stuff like that people, and very easy to cover them once you run bots for some time. Then with a single component listening in, you can cover all these instances. Just a small example. No bot should not be able, should ignore this simple standard stuff.
Well, I think, Dustin, you're getting at is a fallback mechanism here. I think you're asking if it falls out of the scope of whatever the bot is supposed to handle, what should the bot say? Should it be transparent with the user?
Or maybe you should, I'm sorry, Stefan wants to say something.
What's happening?
So we got 2 minutes left.
Okay.
So I want to get to a couple of the questions from our attendees, and we have 3 amazing questions. So if you're an attendee and we don't get to one of your amazing questions, Jason's going to answer it in the Q&A. But Ali asks, how is content governed through CoCo? So for example, and you can read his whole question because it's a little bit more intricate. I'm just going to simplify it. But imagine that I have a bot on Dialogflow, and maybe my bot is a medical bot, okay, but we don't have a component for coronavirus, and so I use you guys' coronavirus component. Does any of the information that the component gathers transfer over to my dialog flow and inform my dialog flow bot, for example?
Each component has, not all of them, it's optional, but each component has parameters in, parameters out.
Okay.
If the component needs to know the user's name, then in the query, you send the user's name. If you need to know someone else, like vacancies in a calendar, or stuff like that, you send it with a query. And then
Sorry, guys. It's not war. It's Independence Day. We're in Tel Aviv, Israel, and what you're hearing is
fireworks.
I think it's telling us that we're done. I think it's basically signaling, guys, get off the stage. This is like, but no, sorry.
It's a celebration.
We can't stop that. We can't ask them to stop it.
It's really funny. It's really funny to celebrate independence in the time of everybody locked in the home. Very independent.
Right.
Anyway, what I was saying. Just one last sentence. Parameters in, parameters out, and we don't keep any information.
Got it. Okay.
So everything goes in, gets processed. The responses get sent back, including the parameters that are acquired. If the goal of the component is to get information from the user, then it gets the information and it passes it on to the calling bot as a parameter, as the response to the query.
Right. Yaki, last question, and then we're going to go to who's here, who's ready to go. And I really like this question. That is like, how do these components? How is it decided which component is going to get delegated the question? And is there some kind of like internal confidence score that determines what this component will answer the question, or whether your bot will answer the question, or some other component will answer the question?
But we have a screening method,
okay,
which measures a number of parameters. Some of them are displayed on the marketplace. Some are criteria for us for accepting them to the marketplace. But they need to be available, most of all. They need to be online all the time to accept calls and query calls. So they cannot get offline. They have to have a good uptime and response time. And they tested a lot. So until now, we haven't had many cases of competing components in the same area. But that'll happen too, I'm sure.
Perfect. So if you are one of the attendees and we didn't get to your question, check out the Q&A session, and Jason's actually going to start answering these questions directly, and then you can go back and forth. You feel free to send Jason or Yaki a direct message.
We're going to hang out here for the rest of the day, so don't worry about it.
And we'll talk more about this use case and other use cases similar to it as it comes up naturally. Okay.